Hi, this is Tom Hutchinson's AEP 879 Practicum Portfolio for Fall 2012. Here's my table of contents with the corresponding slide number on the right hand side of the page. My personal introduction. My name's Tom Hutchinson and I currently teach high school math at Lewis Central High School in Council Bluffs, Iowa. In addition to teaching, I coach freshman girls basketball and am assistant varsity baseball. Committees I'm a part of are our high school's BLT or Building Leadership Team, and I'm a member of our PBIS committee, Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, where I specifically work with our Tier 2 students, which are identified as students we are concerned about that are specifically underclassmen who have more referrals or have more behavior problems than we typically see. Classes I teach include Algebra Intro, Algebra 1-2, Geometry, and our General Math class. This is my second year of teaching at Lewis Central. Prior to Lewis Central, I taught at Charter Oak Youth Community Schools in Charter Oak, Iowa for 1 year, which was my first teaching job, and I was a 7-12 math teacher there. I attended college at Northwest Missouri State University in Maryville, where I majored in math education and minored in coaching. Practicum goals. These were my goals heading into Practicum back in August. I wanted to gain confidence and experience in the role of building administrator. I hoped to gain a better understanding of the school budget and accounting process. I wanted to learn more about the day-to-day duties of a high school athletic director. And lastly, I wanted to transfer the ISLLC standards that we've talked about in our prior coursework here at Fort Hays to real-life applications and decision making. My philosophy statement. This is what, based on my experience so far in education, with what I've seen from prior administrators, these are things that to me are really important, to be a successful leader. I certainly am aware that there is more than these traits I mentioned on the slide, but these are the ones that are most important to me. In order for a building administrator to be a successful leader, they must be willing to listen to all stakeholders and consider their ideas. In addition to being receptive to ideas from others, a successful administrator needs the ability to communicate and persuade other stakeholders to buy in. Another desirable quality of an administrator is the ability to handle criticism. With any administrative position, decisions will be made that not all stakeholders agree with. As long as the administrator has the facts and put students first, that's all one can ask for. Being seen by stakeholders as accessible and approachable is another key quality. The culture needs to be created in the school building that staff members can stop and talk with an administrator at any time regarding problems, issues, or ideas they have. Parents and community members should feel comfortable approaching the administrator at a school function and being able to converse about what is going on at the building. Lastly, a successful administrator has to keep in mind that their job is to provide students a quality education in a safe atmosphere. When it comes to making decisions, students' needs and safety has to be at the top of the list. My major objective. The major objective I identified during my practicum related to our activities department at the high school. In that regard, social media. As we continue in this technology age, it's become evident to me that our school district, and specifically our activities department, does not utilize social media to the fullest extent when it comes to communicating with stakeholders. Just as important, when we do increase our social media use, are putting guidelines in place regarding who has access to post, the content of the post, and who will be in charge of monitoring or overseeing the content. My activity log. The order of this activity log will be that I started with the district level activities, then I went to elementary, and I ended this activity log with high school. This will be the similar template you'll see where I list the activity, the description, the hours, and the standards and conceptual framework it covered. One activity I did at a district level was I observed a DLT meeting, which was our district leadership team that consisted of our building administrators as well as central office personnel. I came out of this meeting, I found it interesting that all of our building administrators are informed about what is happening across the whole district and just not at their building. I sat in on a booster club meeting. Being a high school coach, I primarily thought of our booster club as supporting high school activities, but I was also impressed with the support that they show in our elementary schools, helping out our K-1 building and our 2 through 5 building, and the different activities they try to put on and sponsor at the elementary level. I was one Saturday I was an on-site district representative. Our district and the community college in our town share a football stadium, which is located on our high school campus. They have helped fund major improvements in the last couple of years with field turf, and so we have to make sure we have a person from Lewis Central on site at each game, and this was my job. This really opened my eyes to all the behind-the-scenes work that our maintenance staff and activities department do to prepare not only for a high school game, but also when you meet the demands of hosting a junior college football game, especially the media requests, making sure everything's working so that multiple radio broadcasts are able to originate out of the press box. A district math meeting. Typically, I'm not a part of this, but I participated in a district math meeting, which was attended by math teachers in various buildings of our district and our curriculum director. During this meeting, we're continuing to align the curriculum at a K-12 level to ensure we're meeting the standards. And this is something where as I become more and more aware of these standards, I'm surprised at some of the standards that they keep pushing it down to lower grade levels. Lastly, my last district activity was I met with our transportation director, and we met with him to discuss our winter activity schedule, scheduling buses, seeing if there were nights where we may have issues, trying to give them a heads up of nights where we've got our our girls basketball team, our boys basketball team both on the road, a wrestling meet, and other activities. This also gave me a better idea of why it's so important that we keep our transportation department informed of any schedule changes to ensure that we have bus drivers and that we have school vehicles available for use. Then I went down to the elementary level. My elementary activities consisted of attending the drop-off supply night, meet the teacher night before the start of the school year. I went to a first grade parent breakfast on a Friday. Periodically throughout the semester, I went to one of our elementary schools over my lunch hour and assisted with lunchroom duty. And lastly, I helped with end of day dismissal. I also did a principal observation at our elementary school, and I just did this periodically at the end as my day at the high school ended and the elementary level dismisses an hour later, so I was able to spend some time with the elementary principal. At the high school, I'm on our PBIS committee. We had 2 meetings in the summer, where we were trying to increase parent involvement. And over the last 4 years, this has become an integral aspect of our school. It's helped improve our student behavior, so this is something that we find really important and useful. That was our general PBIS meeting. Then I'm also on the Tier 2 team, which meets at other times. And I have found this to be very rewarding, to seeing the students that we've identified in Tier 2 and the direct positive impact our interventions have had. If I were to become a high school principal, this is certainly a program or some type of program with positive behavior interventions and supports that I would want to make sure I have at the building I work at. I supervised our student section multiple times throughout the volleyball season. For our district volleyball night that we hosted, I assisted our athletic director with the various duties that come with hosting a district volleyball match. Specifically, I helped deal with the paperwork that our girls athletic union sends, and I also helped coordinate who was going to help take tickets at night, since it's more important than normal when we have to send a ticket count and the ticket money back to the state. I was the on-site supervisor for a home swimming meet. During a staff development meeting and also other times throughout the fall, I helped staff members with our technology issues. During my plan periods throughout the trimester, I guess the fall semester, we're on trimesters at my high school, I shadowed our assistant principal. This dealt with discipline, and we also, I think later on, we've talked about the master schedule. Yep, and here it is where we started discussing the master schedule. Despite doing this on computer, we still find errors, and it's also helpful if we have a department head look over their department schedule to make sure there isn't a major mistake. For example, this fall we had a Foods 2 class taught before a Foods 1 class was taught, which does not make sense and shouldn't happen. I coordinated our annual Powder Puff game, having coaches, other staff members volunteer as officials or on the clock announce. I supervised and organized high school coronation. Throughout the fall of football season, I assisted with supervision. I helped coordinate volunteers. Different games, I was also the person that was responsible for helping the visiting team, making sure they had everything and answering all of their questions, and opposing teams were appreciative of this. For JV football games, I was in charge and helped out in the press box, making decisions, communicating from the press box down to the field. Our advisory program, I helped develop a credit tracking system. I met with our AD at different times to gain a better understanding of the accounting system used by our district and purchase orders. And I'm a member of our building leadership team, which met 10 times, or which met every Monday since the start of the school year, as well as we've had a full work day. And there's my activity log summary. Supporting documentation. Here are pictures from the high school swimming meet, one of our high school football games. This was against our crosstown rival. High school coronation. More pictures of high school coronation. High school volleyball. The picture on the left shows me was where I stood, when I supervised the students. This is a picture of the master schedule. On the left side, you see the teacher named, and across the board represents the 3 trimesters: fall, autumn, winter, and spring, as well as the different classes. This was one of my days where I observed our assistant principal in his office. This was the district scheduling website. I helped enter multiple schedules and community requests into. A copy of BLT minutes, a math meeting agenda, a PBIS Tier 2 meeting agenda, and here's my summary reflection. This refers to my exploration part, my explanation, my conjecture, analysis, and my synthesis. And on the previous 5 slides, you will see, I kind of tried to deal some of it from an AD perspective and some of it with a principal perspective, since I was looking at both aspects. This is the beginning of my bibliography from the articles I read throughout the trimester. And lastly, you will find my summative evaluation form scanned into this presentation, which has been signed by my high school athletic director. Dr. Moody, thanks for everything this fall, and thanks again for all your help.